Why Explain the Game is my first CD. The backstory behind this CD is I bought a car from MC8 and he started taking me to the studio. One day we was in Echo Park and he asked me to do some vocals in the booth for his album. And I was like a little shy, a little hesitant. And the engineer was like, man, you could do it. It's real easy. All you had to do is just say a few words and then we in and out. And I got you. So I went in the booth, I did it, and I came out feeling exhilarated. It was like, wow, I like this. This is cool. So then when we got back to the neighborhood, I told Eight, I said, what you think about let's start a record label? And Eight said, well, I already got 8 Hype. Why don't you start a record label? I said, and then you'd be the flagship artist to release the record label, to get the record label out there. So he was like, yeah, I'll do that. So I said, okay, we're going to do it. So I thought of a name, and then I told him the name. He said, the name is cool. Just do a name search and make sure the name is not taken. So when we got back to the house, I started checking on equipment because I said, I want to build a studio because I don't want to pay for studio time. So we started going to the Guitar Center, and that's when I hooked up with Boki, and I started asking him, like, what do I need? And Boki had already sold me some DAT machines. So, I already knew he knew what I needed. So then me and him, we started going to the Guitar Center and picking out equipment, and we started building this recording studio. Then things started moving fast. A was coming by on the regular, and then I asked him, okay, I'm gonna get some contracts drew up, that way we can really kick this off right. So we got some contracts drew up, and then we started getting the equipment in. I met Q, and then Q signed to me and became the producer. And I had got Q out of a situation where he was about to sign to a company in Sacramento, but they was about to give him a slave driver deal. And I told him, well, if you was willing to take that, I'm willing to double what they was going to give you. And then I don't have to get an apartment to charge against what we're going to give you. Because he was going to get Q a place to stay, and he was going to charge it against the money that he was going to pay him. So it really was equating to him basically working for a place to live. But then I said, okay, I'm going to give you a sweet deal. I'm going to give you twice as much. And then, you already got a place to live, so we don't have to worry about, charging you back for a place to live. So then we start working on the Smoke in the City album. I signed Menace, and then I signed Reeves, and then we start working with their album, The Strong Arm Criminals. So while we working on their album, one day I came in the studio and Menace was writing, and I was like, hey, Menace, teach me how to write a 16. So he taught me how to count bars. Once he taught me how to count bars, I was off and running. I was writing music every day. So we was working on some mixtapes to promote MC8 album, and I wrote a song. Well, I wrote a 16. I did the 16. That day we went to Johnburg, and we let some people hear it, and they liked it. It was a surprise, like they really liked it. So then me and Menace went back to the studio that day, and Menace was like, I want to get you on my album. I want to get you on the song. So me and Menace started working on the song. We worked on the song, did it. Everybody liked it. It was, a few mixed reviews, but Q said he liked it. Menace liked it. And 8 was like, kind of like, it's okay. It's cool. So then after that, I met a bass player. I had maybe like 3 folders of books that I was just writing lyrics in. So when he gave me some information on, how to write a good song and how to put together a good song, I kind of was discouraged. I was like, well, I didn't have this formula at first. So I threw all my notebooks in the trash, and he watched me do it, and he was like, man, I don't think you want to do that because you had some good ideas and, you really was busting your brain and you put some thoughts into that. So you should go through it and see what you want to keep and what you want to disregard. I'll be careful with what I throw away because it has some significant meaning to you at the time that you wrote it. So I went back to the drawing board, I took them out the trash, and I started rewriting a lot of songs. And then that's when my writing skills started getting a little bit better because it was like I was proofreading them, and then I was really checking them against the information and the formula that he gave me to write. So then I told Q, I want to work on an album. I want to start picking some beats, and I want to start working on the album. And that's when I started working on this album. And about a year later, this is what you got.